Welcome back, everybody, to the Metropolis Bulldogs Teambuilder Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14. Today, we conclude season number 1 of the series with our final game of the season, Senior Day at home against our rivals, the Capital College Flyers. It's a packed house here at Metropolis Stadium, and it's not because of the Capital College fans. I see a lot of red and a lot of navy blue in the crowd. Our fans have finally decided to show out and support the team, which is great, so hopefully we can put a show on for them today. Before we get into today's game, I will be doing a minor recruiting update to let you guys know where everything stands going into the offseason, which will be next episode, premiering this upcoming Monday. I will also be including the full season recap in today's video as well, so we've got a lot of stuff to do today. In our inaugural season of play, we are currently 3-8. We have certainly been respectable and competitive, even though our team isn't the best. And of course, we're playing Capital College, the other team builder team who joined us in this series. They've had a good year. They're currently 6-5, and we expect them to be a better team than us, as they are a 3-star prestige, coached by Urban Meyer. So let's talk recruiting. We've gotten a number of players to commit to the school since I last did a recruiting update a couple of weeks ago, and there are some big ones, including quarterback Manuel Castillo of Archbishop Carroll High School in Washington, D.C. Last episode, we took a look at some high school action, which included Castillo and Archbishop Carroll, so if you want to watch that episode, I'll leave the card at the top right. His teammate at Archbishop Carroll, cornerback Figgy Yakabuti, has also committed here. Yakabuti is definitely someone I expect to start day one, and Castillo, as the quarterback, very well could be a day one starter too. Kicker Marquez Glover will be our long-term kicker once Mark Mitchell ends up leaving, which will be in a couple years as Mitchell is a sophomore. Glover's very well-rounded, but he's not overly insane. And then we have defensive end Kevin Bowman, a 3-star, who's going to be one of our best pass rushers right away, another player who I would expect to be a day one starter for us. And now let's talk about the low lock guys. So a couple of weeks ago, we added some low lock players to the board, and I said we could only get one unless multiple commit during the same week. Well, that is exactly what has happened here with Jonathan Roberts and Victor Adams, who were the two low lock guys I wanted the most, and they both have a shot to be really good. Adams is a JUCO junior athlete. He's a 79 overall, and he's pretty much going to be our Mekhi Diggins next year. I think he's going to play both sides of the ball, probably wide receiver and corner, maybe running back as well, because running back is a major need for us. And Jonathan Roberts is the big one. He's a 4-star athlete. He can play quarterback, which is a very big deal. 88 speed, so he would be very fun to have scrambling around in the pocket. I think he could also play running back or wide receiver. So somewhere on the offensive side of the ball, but he's going to be a very key player for us next year, along with Victor Adams. And getting those two are huge for us. Now that the two low lock guys we've wanted have committed, that means we can no longer go after any low lock players unless they are custom recruits. Marcus Sorvanis, for example, is a custom subscriber-made player, so I will still go after him. I've decided to keep punter Craig Thomas on the board as well. He's another low-lock guy, but nobody else is going after him, so I feel like in that case, it is fair to keep him. But everybody else who has other schools going after them, I will be removing from the board just to add to the challenge, because if we just get a bunch of low-lock guys, I feel like the series could be a little bit too easy. So this is where the recruiting board stands. Going into the offseason, I don't expect anybody to commit to our school or elsewhere. I'm moving Donovan Barrington up. I think him and Osiris Young will be our top two targets. Our offense has no explosiveness, and those two could be huge gets for us. So they are going to be our top priorities in the offseason, which again will be next episode premiering on Monday. So now let's talk about our opponent, the Capital College Flyers, who are our big rivals. Like us, they play in Washington, D.C. as well, so obviously they are a local team. And we want to beat these guys. I understand they're quite a bit better than us, of course led by junior quarterback Champ Britton Jr., the son of former Westlake legend and now Philadelphia Eagles head coach Champ Britton. Britton Jr. has had a fine season, nothing overly spectacular, but he's been decent enough. They also have the only 99 overall player in the entire save file in punter Tayson Robbins, and linebacker Lemetitre Yakabuti, part of the Yakabuti clan. He has been a great player for them with 18 tackles for loss. His cousin, Figgy Yakabuti, the corner, has committed to us. And their other cousin, O'Shane Yakabuti, of course, is our starting tight end. So without further ado, let's hop into this matchup at home against our rivals for Senior Day. We have a number of key seniors who headline this roster. I'm going to list them off for you. Fullback, Kenny Phillips-Ferg. Wide receivers, Tyrese Rogers and Reggie King. Tight end, O'Shane Yakabuti. Left tackle and team captain, Willard Daniel. Defensive ends, Eric Boyd and Kevin Toto. Linebacker, Boog McAllister. Cornerback / running back, Makai Diggins, another team captain, along with cornerbacks Teddy Edwards and Evan Orson Sr. If there's anybody who I forgot, I will list their names at the bottom and then cry in a ditch. Welcome everybody to Metropolis Field. The 6-5 Capital College Flyers take on the 3-8 Metropolis Bulldogs for their final game of the season, as Metropolis will choose to start on defense per usual. And as I said earlier, it is a packed house. It's been a pretty empty stadium most of the season for Metropolis, but their fans have decided to come out and support the team today, which is great. It's good to see that these guys are very relatable and the fans want to rally around them. A quick catch for Heath Coleman up the middle of the field, gaining over 20 yards. Champ Britton Jr. is a great arm, and obviously Capital College is the better team today, certainly the favorites as he gets it to his senior wideout, Darren Strawn, one of the best playmakers on this offense of a big first down. Another player to look out for is junior running back Colton Moore, who has been really good as well, as Colton Moore gets the ball here on 3rd and goal, untouched into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Capital College Flyers, on their first drive of the game, find the end zone. They lead 7-0. So here is the offense. Handoff up the middle for the senior, Makai Diggins to the outside. He gets a nice first down run in his final collegiate game. The Metropolis offense is going to look dramatically different next year with new starters at running back, tight end, and the top 2 receiver spots, and maybe quarterback. The pass from Johans there for Reggie King is incomplete. So Capital College's defense gets an early stop. The Capital College Flyers' defense is probably their strong suit. They're very good on that side of the ball. Here's Eddie Fulton, the big man, bringing it inside at the 20. A gain of 36 yards for a tight end who looks like he's a biscuit away from about 300 pounds. 2nd and 6 now. Champ Britton Jr. looking to throw it. Under pressure, he is sacked. The sophomore, Scout Lopez, is going to bring him down. I'm excited to see what Lopez does these next couple of seasons as an upperclassman. Hopefully he can step up with many talented pass rushers on this team leaving. 3rd and 13, incomplete for the end zone. Heath Coleman could have made a play there, but it was broken up towards the end by Ryan Jovanovic. 4th and 13, the offense is going to stay on the field. Capital College is going to elect to go for it. Interesting decision here as the pass is incomplete. Broken up by the linebacker, Miles Burrow. So despite getting in the red zone, Capital College does not score on that possession. A big stop for the Metropolis Bulldogs defense. They get it back here on offense, 3rd and 1. Xavier Grice loses a yard. A big play for Foreman. And that would lead the offense to return to the field here on 4th and 2. Metropolis' offense has not looked very good today so far, but they're going to go for it. Johans with a strike for the tight end, O'Shane Yakabuti, for a gain of 20. O'Shane Yakabuti started the season off pretty slowly, but the past 4 or 5 games, he's been maybe the best player on the offense. He's been phenomenal. Capital College up after 1, 7-0 your score. Metropolis is hanging in there. They're looking competitive, but the Capital College Flyers do hold the early advantage. 2nd and 10 here for the Bulldogs. Play action fake for Alexander. Johan scrambling, deep ball caught, touchdown, O'Shane Yakabuti. The senior tight end in his final game as the Metropolis Bulldog will get the touchdown, and Metropolis is on the board. They tied at 7. Great throw by Victor Johans and a great route by Yakabuti, who was left completely wide open. So Capital College has it back. Here's Colter Moore. The junior breaks a tackle and is wrapped up by Tavion Lewis. A big first down run there for Colter Moore. Unfortunately, he would get injured on the next play. It's an elbow injury. He will not return to the game. A big loss for the Capital College offense is on 3rd and 6. It's an interception. Miles Burrow picks off the pass. Burrow has been flying around the field so far today. A bad off-balance throw by Champ Britton Jr. And Metropolis forces a big turnover. Miles Burrow, the junior, he of course will be back next year. It's great to see him making a big play. 3rd and 7, what a catch by Tyrese Rogers, who has had trouble at times catching the football. His hands have not been the greatest this year, but the senior wideout is able to hold on to that pass. Now Metropolis is in the red zone. They've got a shot to take the lead here. Johans looking to throw it, and he will connect again with Tyrese Rogers, who gets about 11. And Metropolis is inching very close to the end zone. It's 1st and goal with an opportunity to take the lead here before halftime. It's a handoff from Mekhi Diggins, and he is smothered in the backfield. The left tackle, Willard Daniel, the senior, really had no shot there, and it's Rodney Neal with the tackle for loss. 2nd and goal now. The Bulldogs are backed up at the 11. Back to Diggins, and he's going to lose 3 more. Not really Mekhi Diggins' fault there on either play. The offensive line for Metropolis just isn't a tough unit. And obviously the offensive line of his team has been the weak spot. 3rd and goal, touchdown, Reggie King. So despite losing yardage on 1st and 2nd and goal, it doesn't matter because the passing game comes up clutch. Victor Johans with his 2nd passing touchdown in the first half. Johans wants to keep that starting job next year, even with Manuel Castillo and Jonathan Roberts coming to campus. 2nd and 10, a nice throw downfield over to Eddie Fulton once again, who's been really reliable so far for quarterback Champ Britton Jr. 2nd and 8 here, not a whole lot of time left in the second quarter. Britton under pressure, and he is sacked. A loss of 8 on the play, and Capital College uses a timeout. That was Jonathan Savage the second with the sack, and now with 5 seconds, Capital College is going to have to launch up a Hail Mary. Champ Britton Jr. has the arm talent to get it there. It's tipped and incomplete. So that will conclude half number 1. And Metropolis is looking good. They have the lead 14-7, and they start the ball in the second half. With all the fans that have finally decided to come to this game, I'm happy that Metropolis is giving them their money's worth because this has been a fun game, and the Bulldogs are looking good. Even though they're 3-8, they're not playing for a bowl game. They still look like they want to be out there and fight. 3rd and 1. Johans gets it to Rogers, who cannot hang on. I told you Tyrese Rogers has trouble catching the football. Nice play by the Capital College defense, and what is this? 4th and 1. The offense will stay on the field again to go for it. Metropolis is 1 for 2 today on 4th down as Johans tosses it for King. Victor, no, what are you doing? He could have ran for the first down himself, but instead he tosses it to King for a loss of 6. A costly play there by Victor Johans, and Capital College has it back on 1st down. Champ Britton Jr. gets nothing. Wrapped up by the junior, Ryan Jovanovic, who's been a tackling machine. He actually leads the NCAA in tackles this season. 3rd and 12. Britton goes deep, and it's caught. Lucas Dorsey with a big play inside the 10. Dorsey completely burned the senior Teddy Edwards like a deer in headlights. And then on 2nd and goal, Ali McCormick, the backup running back, will find the end zone, and Capital College is going to tie this one up at 14 apiece. So a nice play there for McCormick and the Flyers, and now Metropolis gets it back. And now the Bulldogs are starting to feel the pressure. They haven't looked all that good so far in the second half, and their offense needs a big drive. Johans scrambling to the left, looking to make a play with his legs as he goes downfield for Emmanuel Cortez. Cortez is the only one of Metropolis' main pass catchers who will be back next season, so expect him to have a big-time role on the offense, maybe as the clear number 1 receiver along with some of these freshmen. On 1st down, Johans is sacked. It's Roscoe Hugh who forces a loss of about 5. After a 3-yard gain, it's now 3rd and 12. Victor Johans now going to scramble to the right. Sees a man open downfield. It's incomplete. Tyrese Rogers burned the defender, but he was able to catch up with him. And so Metropolis' offense is again blanked on that drive, and they would have to punt it. Capital College has it back. 3rd and 7. Britton looking to throw it. Goes short for Fulton, who is wrapped up by Hassan Antonio. Just like the wide receiver room, the cornerback room has a bunch of seniors, and then Hassan Antonio, who's likely going to have to be the leader of that group next year as a junior. So Metropolis has it back. Game remains tied at 14. Johans on 1st down with a strike for O'Shane Yakabuti, who continues to play well. It's such a shame Yakabuti is a senior because he's really come into his own as the season has gone along. 14-14 your score after 3. We've got ourselves a thriller. The Metropolis fans continue to have a blast here in this one, and hopefully this is a sign of things to come for next year, and hopefully we see some more packed crowds in the seasons to come. To open up the fourth, Metropolis has the football on first down. It's John Alexander with a big run downfield, and he brings it to the 5. Maybe the longest run of the entire season for this whole team. It's John Alexander, the freshman, who is really looking to give the coaching staff an excuse to give him some playing time next year, because obviously outside of Diggins, the running backs on this team have been atrocious. And even Diggins has had his weak points, particularly in the red zone as he loses a couple yards. George Rodden III brings him down. This team just cannot run it in short yardage situations to save their lives. 3rd and goal now for the Bulldogs. Johan looking to throw it, and he has no time whatsoever. Sacked for a loss of about 7 by Lewis Gregory. So that'll send out the field goal team. Here is Mark Mitchell, the reliable sophomore. And he barely gets that one to go, but nonetheless, Metropolis takes the lead as it's now 17-14. We've still got about 6 minutes or so left. That's more than enough time for Capital College to try to do some damage and take the lead here, although their offense has been very underwhelming today. 2nd down, Britton under pressure from Burrow, takes a shot downfield. It's caught by Lucas Dorsey inside the 35. Britton had plenty of time to throw there. He was able to find his man. Capital College would march down the field slowly but surely in the following plays, and then on 1st and goal, Ali McCormick will punch it in for his 2nd touchdown of the game, and Capital College quickly takes the lead back as it's now 21-17. So the Bulldogs get it back. A big 3rd and 2. Danilo Walls in motion. Johans looking to throw it, and he is intercepted by Duncan. A costly turnover there by Victor Johans and the Bulldogs. A huge interception from Geraldo Duncan, and Capital College not only gets it back, but with awesome field position. 3rd and 6. Huge play here. It's a screen for McCormick. He gets the 1st and more, wrapped up by DeGray at the 10. Malcolm DeGray could have wrapped him up on the initial screen, but instead he tried to play for the ball and go for the interception, and that decision really backfired. 2nd and goal. Metropolis now out of timeout, so the Bulldogs really just almost need to let McCormick score, and that's exactly what happens. Ali McCormick, not only himself is in the end zone, but he dragged Ford Chavez with him. An unbelievable stiff arm by Ali McCormick, who now has a hat trick, 3 touchdowns in today's game, and Metropolis is now down by 11. This is it, their final hope. 1st down. Johans connects with O'Shane Yakabuti for a nice gain. Metropolis trying to move quickly. Not a whole lot of time left, and obviously no timeouts. Johans again connects with O'Shane Yakabuti, his 10th reception of the game. Yakabuti with over 100 yards for the 2nd time in his career. 1st down. Johans scrambling again to the right side, and he is picked off. The true freshman TJ Stewart with the interception. Johans looks defeated, being helped up by his center Gilbert Bernard. And that is how this game in season number 1 will come to a close, as Champ Britton Jr. is on for the final kneel down, and Capital College is going to win this game by the final score of 28-17. So in the first ever rivalry game between these two teams, it is Capital College who comes out on top. They'll finish their inaugural regular season with a record of 7-5 as they are headed bowling. The Bulldogs, meanwhile, finish off 3-9, the same record that Westlake finished in their first season. In Westlake's second season, they ended up winning the Mountain West Championship. So I don't know, maybe that's a sign of things to come here with Metropolis. As we take a look at the stats for today's game, I give Victor Johans a ton of credit really this entire season. He is such a tough and gritty kid. And with Manuel Castillo and Jonathan Roberts committing, I don't know if this was Johans' last start at quarterback. It very well might have been. If it is, hats off to him, because even though he wasn't always great, he fought his butt off all 12 games this year. The run game was decent. The receiving game, of course, led by tight end O'Shane Yakabuti, 10 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown in his final collegiate game. The defense was great for 3 quarters. They couldn't hold up in the final quarter of action, but they were very solid really the entire season. The defense was definitely the backbone of this team. Champ Britton Jr. was honestly unimpressive. Ali McCormick did run for 3 touchdowns, and Coulter Moore was pretty good before he got hurt. Britton had a few nice throws, but he just really wasn't all that consistent. Didn't really look like a 90 overall quarterback, and to be honest, I don't think he was a whole lot better than Victor Johans. The defense came up with some big plays. Geraldo Duncan and TJ Stewart had a couple of key interceptions down the stretch. And that right there is how our regular season concludes with a record of 3-9. As I said, I am doing the full season recap today, so if you'd like to see stats and whatnot, make sure to stick around. Normally I do that in the offseason, but I've decided to fit that in today's episode and just let the offseason be the offseason. So as we simulate to conference championship week, no game obviously, we're not even in a conference, and if we were, we probably would not make the conference championship. So we started the year off really poorly, but I think the Alabama game was a turning point because we were very competitive with them in the first half. We went on our win streak against Navy and Temple, including shutting out Temple. Then we kind of struggled again with some bad losses to Boise State and Virginia. Of course, we beat Vanderbilt on the road, and we had a competitive game to finish out the season against Capital College, but of course did not come out with the win. So let's take a look at the stats. Of course, our main quarterback was Victor Johans. The stats are about average, not great, not horrible, but again, Victor Johans is a fighter. This kid is extremely tough. He's a great leader, and I want him to stick around. Even if he's not going to start another game at quarterback, I still think there's value for a high-character kid like him, and maybe he has the versatility to play somewhere else. I mean, we have a hole at tight end now. Mekhi Diggins, he was this team's leader. He could have went to Capital College and been a starter there, but he wanted to come here, lead a culture change, and he certainly helped do that. Of course, playing on both sides of the ball was very productive at running back and cornerback. I think he could have done a lot more if our offensive line wasn't an absolute train wreck. Only 3 rushes of 20-plus yards. He wasn't overly explosive, but you could really say that about everybody on this offense. And other than Diggins, look at the yards per carry. John Alexander, 3.6, and he really gassed that up in this game against Capital College. Victor Johans, 1.1. Xavier Grice, 2.4. Tutu Ardavius, 2.6. It's clear that Mekhi Diggins was the best running back on this team, and we really need some of our true freshmen to play well at running back because the guys we have currently are awful. We had 4 receivers all finish within about 70 yards of each other at the top, with Oshane Yakabuti, the tight end, in first place for catches and yards. Reggie King led in touchdowns, followed by Emmanuel Cortez and Tyrese Rogers. A lot of drops here. Only Cortez had less than 6, and of course Cortez is the only one of that group who will be back. The offensive line was awful. We only had 2 pancakes, and one of them was by a wide receiver. Aaron Sherman allowed 13 sacks. He was pretty much a revolving door all season. So long story short, the offense is going to look a lot different next year at running back, receiver, tight end, hopefully the offensive line, and maybe QB as well. The defense, on the other hand, was very strong, and I think there are a lot of guys on this side of the ball I'd like to build around. DeGray, Boyd, and Chavez, each with double-digit tackles for loss. Boyd had a team-high 8 sacks. I believe Jonathan Savage had 6. Number of guys with 2 interceptions, and we also recovered 5 fumbles. So we didn't have problems getting to the quarterback. We didn't have problems forcing turnovers. The defense just wasn't always consistent. But again, I think our defense was a lot better than the offense. The special teams was pretty good. Mark Mitchell only missed 2 kicks all season, so he was very steady and reliable. Zach Kirksey, our punter, wasn't insane, but he did his job, although 36 yards a punt is pretty bad. So those are the team stats. Nobody obviously stands out. We didn't have any elite players, obviously. But, as I said, Ryan Jovanovich did lead the NCAA in tackles. Right behind him is potential number 1 overall draft pick Aiden Hutchinson. Eric Boyd also finished 4th in sacks, although keep in mind we still have conference championships and bowls to go through. So someone like Hutchinson could very well pass Jovanovich. Casey Thompson, the quarterback out of the University of Texas, wins the Heisman Trophy. Are the Longhorns back? No, I don't think so. In second place was Wake Forest running back Christian Beal-Smith, who was the favorite for the Heisman most of the season, followed by Ty Chandler, Jalen Warren, and Kenneth Walker III of Michigan State. Really the only player you would have expected to see on the Heisman watch. He finishes in 5th. As we look at the award races, we had nobody finish in the top 12 of any of the awards, which really doesn't surprise me. The player I want to talk about real quick, though, he's a defensive lineman out of Texas A&M. His name is Tyree Johnson. He had 38 tackles for loss. 38! How did that man not win the Heisman Trophy? I'll tell you what, he would have gotten my first place vote. That's nearly a tackle for loss per quarter. That's remarkable. Other than that, not really a whole lot of surprises here. The usual suspects at the top, guys like Isaiah Likely, Evan Neal, Tyler Linderbaum, Jareth Stearns, really all the guys you would have expected to see at the top of these lists winning the awards. And then my guy, Tyree Johnson, who again probably should have won the Heisman Trophy. Brian Asamoah of Oklahoma, Trent McDuffie of Washington. Again, players who most college football fans and NFL draft geeks like myself know and recognize quite well. A lot of high possible first-round picks like Neal, Linderbaum, and McDuffie. As we look at the All-American team, Sam Howell was the quarterback instead of the Heisman winner, Casey Thompson, which is a little bit of a surprise. Again, we had nobody finish on an All-American team, which really isn't much of a surprise because we didn't have anybody stand out statistically. I thought there was a chance somebody like Ryan Jovanovic could have made it, but I didn't really think he deserved it. Other than the tackles, he wasn't that crazy. We did have an all-conference representative. Again, we're not really in a conference, but we did have one player on the All-Independents first team, and indeed, that was Ryan Jovanovic. I know there are not a lot of teams in the Independents, but he beat out Kyle Hamilton to finish as the #1 free safety. Kyle Hamilton's the best safety in college football. You could argue he might be the most talented player in college football. Ford Shawens ends up making the second team, very well deserved. I thought he was one of our best defensive players, someone who could do a little bit of everything, got to the quarterback, stop the run, force turnovers. I'm excited to have him back this season. As we look at the top 25 going into bowl week, our national championship will be Alabama and Miami. Alabama is the clear #1, and then there were a bunch of teams fighting for #2. Honestly, should have gone to Wake Forest. They only had one loss. They had a Heisman finalist in Christian Beal-Smith. They had a great quarterback in Sam Hartman. But I guess Miami, being one of the bigger schools, ends up getting the nod. Alabama beat Miami back in week 1, so it's a rematch for De'Aaron King and the Hurricanes. And I guess in this universe, Manny Diaz never gets fired. So let's take a look at the bowl results, shall we? Of course, the bowls at the top, not a whole ton of notable teams here. We are seeing some teams we played against, like Virginia Tech. I know they killed us earlier in the season. Moving right along here, Wake Forest beats Texas A&M. I told you Wake Forest is good. Florida beats Michigan in the Outback Bowl. Ohio State over UCLA in the Rose Bowl. UCF dominates Oklahoma. North Carolina defeats Georgia. Texas over Arkansas. Capital College gets throttled in the Compass Bowl by Calvin Austin III in Memphis. And then the Natty ended up being a really good game, but it was Alabama who pulled off a comeback victory, 38-31. So Alabama ends up winning the national championship, unlike real life. So that's going to conclude today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Next episode, as I said, will be the off-season. In the Westlake series, we always did the season recap, but that's already done. So we're going to hop right into the off-season next episode. It will be premiering live on Monday. I'll let you guys know what time on the community tab because I don't know what time it's going to be premiering yet, but I'll make sure to let you guys know. Peace out.